What's up everyone, Alex here, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. I wanted to talk about gender autonomy, which I just recently posted a resource page on the YB3 Wiki, so if you're interested in seeing a lot more about this, go there and check out the page that I just put up. Gender autonomy refers to a gender that exists outside of, it's typically outside of the gender binary. It's not neutral and it's not genderless, but it exists as its own kind of unique, individualized gender experience. So it's really just the person's own gender, and it doesn't fit in with any kind of typical model of gender construct, any kind of like, it doesn't fit in that little gender trinary model. It doesn't really fit in with feminine or masculine or any kind of qualities like that. It exists by itself, independently of most gender concepts, but it's not xenogender. Typically, autonomous genders are within the realm of anthrogenders, which are non-xenic. So genders that are autonomous in nature are called Owen genders, because autonomous in nature, O-U-I-N. And Maverique is one of those genders. I've probably talked about Maverinity before. It is the gender quality that relates to being Maverique. So a Maverin gender has something to do with being Maverique, whether it's, something that falls within the spectrum of Maverick adjacent experiences, or just the overall quality of being an independent gender, similar to being Maverique. So Maverique comes from the word maverick, and that is a word that refers to independence, but more importantly, it refers to an unbrandedness. It literally used to refer to unbranded cattle, because someone named Samuel Maverick was notorious for not branding his cattle. So the cattle that were unbranded were called mavericks. It kind of turned into referring to being independent, but it more importantly means unbranded, unlabeled. It doesn't fit in with any kind of even non-conforming sort of gender labels, like gender queer or non-binary or androgynous. It doesn't really fit any of those models. It exists entirely on its own without fitting. It's not an umbrella term for anything. It's just entirely independent, individualized gender. So when you have the, male, female, neutral, anything that is not at all related to male, female, feminine, or masculine is called aporigender. Neutrality can fit into this. Maverick also fits into this. It's anything that is abinary. So Aporic genders, aporigender quality genders, exist outside of masculine, feminine, female, and neutral. So Maverick is an Aporic gender. It's also a Maverin gender because it has its own quality. Like Maverin is a Maverick-like quality, so it is also under the umbrella of its own, its own gender quality. So the reason why I wanted to talk about autonomous genders, besides the fact that I recently put that reference article up on the wiki and it's been fresh in my mind, Maverick is a term that I definitely see myself relating to in some way, but I don't really know how, because I've always said that I'm part male, part neutroid in some kind of way, mostly male, and some kind of fraction of neutroid. That's how I've always described my bigender experience, and sometimes I wonder if the neutroid part of my identity is aligned in some way with Maverinity instead. It is definitely not male or female. It is probably something adjacent to being neutroid or some kind of gender neutral, which is why aporigender also kind of jumps out at me as like, I can relate to that term. It's an interesting label. It refers to not being male or female, but still having some kind of gender. And I have kind of like a special interest in abinary genders. I talked about atrinarity, but I didn't really reel it back to talk about abinarity other than explaining what neutrality was as like a gender quality. But Maverinity, Aporinity, I don't know. There are terms I can relate to, but I don't know if I can like say that any of my genders are Aporic gender or Maverique. Maverique does exist as its own term, obviously. It kind of stands alone, but you can be part Maverique and part something else. You can be Maverique and you can be feminine or masculine or like relate to the gender binary in some way. Like that's just kind of how gender works. Gender is very complex. There's a lot of moving parts, and not all of us have all those parts figured out, but when we do, you know, we use the best language we can to talk about those experiences. So Maverick is more like it's in the gender horde. I put it away along with all the other like labels I've like collected over the years, and I relate to it and I like it a lot as a term. I don't know how exactly it refers to me, but it's always in the back of my mind as like potential label, I guess. But that's pretty much it. Check out that resource page for sure. I tried to look around to find different examples of gender autonomy and make not really like a database of identities, but just a way to reference gender autonomy and what is considered an autonomous gender. And there's a couple of similar terms to Maverick where it's terms that are like it's genderless and autonomous at the same time. It's xenogender and autonomous at the same time. There's been terms coined for those experiences, so those are like on a big list of genders that exist out there, and they have their own, you know, they have links to like the posts where they were originally coined. So it might help, especially since like I've talked about Maverinity and Aporinity. I've coined labels that are tangential to these terms, and having that reference article with like, you know, what is gender autonomy and how does it relate to this term that I coined? That's helpful. That is pretty much it. I don't think that the upcoming YB3 zine topic is going to be gender autonomy. The last couple of times, the zine has accidentally like kind of lined up topic-wise with videos that I've uploaded, but this time I don't think I'm going to be covering gender autonomy. I might go a different direction. I might revisit pronouns. I think I'm going to be doing that because I wanted to talk about not only pronouns that I use, but pronouns that interest me, pronouns that I really like, that maybe I would want to use but don't currently use. Just pronouns as a special interest, particularly neopronouns. So that's about it. I am signing off for now. See you later.